How do you see this hybrid war officially accepted as a war doctrine by Vladimir Putin?
It's merely a continuation of old KGB spy tactics that go back to the Okhrana of the Tsars and certainly developed to a high level in a communist regime. And we're still seeing the sequels there, if you like, the remnants of that sort of approach. The networks that were established, the influencers, the thought leaders that were influenced by communist ideology. But this communist ideology was mixed together with sympathies for Russia as the flag bearer, you see, of communism.
You have met Mr. Putin personally.
Mm-hmm.
What character you saw, and has he changed since then?
I was elected president in 1999, and on New Year's Eve 2000, President Yeltsin announced that Mr. Putin would be his successor. At the end of 2001, an invitation came to meet with President Putin. So I said yes. He puts down a big agenda in front of him, and he starts leafing the documents and making all kinds of complaints. And what a tragedy it is that there's now a border between Latvia and the Russian Federation, and what a tragedy it is that the Soviet Union broke up. And I said, well, for me, the day the Soviet Union collapsed was the happiest day of my life, and it was the same for many other Latvians. I worked in my youth as a psychologist in a psychiatric hospital, and I realized that there are some patients who, the so-called neurotics, with whom you can maybe discuss, and there's a question of therapy and so on. But psychotics, because there's biological changes occurring in their brains, you cannot argue with them. And I get the feeling that the regime in Russian Federation under President Putin has become like a mass psychosis. They are so used to spreading disinformation, I think that they themselves, starting with the president, don't realize what is and what is not real in his, what I consider his mania of grandeur. He's teaching his nation that they're being attacked by everybody, and that's part of paranoia. He's becoming, I think, really a bit unbalanced psychologically, in the sense that sees himself as a reincarnation of Peter the Great. People who were brought here during the Soviet regime, they went to bed in one country and they woke up in another. The problem was one of integrating them into a society that wanted to, if you like, move back into Europe. And anybody who was looking back with nostalgia on the days of the Soviet Union as the days of when life was happy and this was a lost paradise that we're all longing for, obviously there was a dissonance. We could not give them automatic citizenship if they, having spent their whole life in Latvia, not wishing to learn the official language of the country, how could we integrate them into society? The effort we had to make is saying, you want to live in Latvia? Then your government is in Riga, it is not in Moscow.